All right, folks, we got a UFC 209 coming up this weekend, Saturday, March 4th. A couple of days ahead, so of course, injuries happen all the time. People pull out. Fedor had a fight against Matt Mitrione, and that guy, he pulled out with like hours to go, like minutes actually, before the show went live. So if things change drastically between now and then, my apologies. I did this on a Monday, show's on a Saturday, things happen. Nothing I can do about it. That said, just looking at the show on paper, this looks like it's actually really, really good. Like this one might actually be worth going out of your way to witness. And the thing is, the main event is really, really good, and it's still not the best fight on the entire show. But we'll get into the meat and potatoes of that. I'll kind of go mildly in depth for the main card, and then just run down the prelims. I think they're still doing a little bit of matchmaking for that, but neither here nor there. All right, main event. Tyrone Woodley taking on Stephen Thompson. And the last fight was a majority or split draw, I think. So Woodley retained the title. And I think Woodley, in my estimates, I think he won that fight. I mean, it wasn't a bell-to-bell kind of thing, but he had Thompson trouble. He almost finished him at least once or twice in that fight. So I think it's kind of pointless to run down, the stats because we've seen the guys fight before. We know the stylistic matchup. Woodley, better wrestler, quicker on his feet. Thompson, better as a ranged fighter, definitely better kicks. He's got some decent submissions. But Woodley, I think, is just overall, he's a better ground and pound fighter. He's better on the ground. And I think once the fight gets in close, he can tag Thompson a couple of times and pretty much coast from there. Now Thompson can win the fight. I mean, if he plays a different strategy than we did last time, that was at 205, I believe. My apologies if I'm wrong on that one. If he goes in there and makes this more of a conservative striking game, if he goes in there and says, I'm going to hit you with a kick here, I'm going to strike you, I'm going to jab you, pull back, and keeps a standing war, he can win the fight. But if Woodley gets in close and this becomes a mat-oriented affair, Woodley wins it. So I think this will probably be slightly more competitive. And I know the last one ended in a draw. How much more competitive can you get? Like a double draw? But I think Thompson's going to fare a little bit better. He's not going to take as much damage as he did in the first fight. That said, I think Woodley has a winning program. He's able to negate Thompson's striking, which is very good. Better wrestler. I think Woodley, second verse, same as the first. He wins this one by split decision. All right, co-main event for the interim lightweight title. Another interim belt because we don't have enough of those in the UFC. Now, to me, this actually should be, in my opinion, the main event because you've got probably the most dominant fighter in the lightweight division. And yes, that includes Conor McGregor taking on a guy who's definitely like top 5 in the most talent-rich division in all of MMA. So Khabib taking on Tony Ferguson, and I always stumble over the last name Nurmagomedov. Just call him the Eagle. Never gonna call him Khabib because that's easier. Khabib taking on Tony Ferguson. Obviously, Khabib is undefeated. Tony Ferguson 23-3. I'll go through the stats very quickly. I don't think they're that important. Minor height advantage for Ferguson. Huge reach advantage for Ferguson. 76 inches compared to 70 for Khabib, so that could be a factor. Leg reach, minimal. Strikes landed per minute, Ferguson landing 5.23, 3.82 for Khabib. But Khabib's a more accurate striker, and he's absorbing far less punches per minute. 1.5 significant strikes absorbed for Khabib, and 3.43 for Ferguson. Defense, Khabib the slight advantage. Here's where things go off the rails. Grappling. Takedown average for Tony Ferguson, 0.71. Takedown average for Khabib, 6.14. All right, well, I guess we figure out who wins the ground game there. Takedowns defended, actually pretty close. Takedown accuracy also is close as well. And submission actually averages out to favor Ferguson, 1.53 per 15 minutes, 0.63 for Khabib. All right, so here's what we know. Ferguson has a huge reach advantage. That could make all the difference. I mean, that could really change the trajectory of the standing game. But Khabib is the way better wrestler. If Khabib takes Ferguson down, it doesn't matter how long his arms are. You can't throw him when you're getting punched in the face from the top. So it really becomes a question of what do you have more faith in? Do you have more faith in Ferguson's surgical striking and him keeping it a jabbing game and protecting against the takedown? Or do you have more faith in Khabib's getting there and close, tagging him up against the cage, and then dragging him down, making a ground and pound affair? We've seen what Tony Ferguson has done. We've seen what Khabib has done. And I think Khabib is more successful at what he does than what Ferguson does. And I think stylistically, it's not a good matchup for Ferguson because he's not really that good against defending the takedown. Khabib is like a world-class Sambo and penetration guy. I think it's not going to be as much of a slaughter as the fight against Johnson was at 205. But I think Khabib goes in there and he should win this fight. And I think he wins by third round TKO, just ground and pound destruction. And from there, we start doing the groundwork for Khabib versus Conor McGregor, and that will shatter MMA records if it ever happens. All right, here's a guy we haven't seen in a while, Rashad Evans. Definitely the twilight of his career, taking on Daniel Kelly. And Daniel Kelly, if you don't know him, he's actually a pretty talented dude from Australia, a real up-and-comer. Rashad Evans, of course, one of the old guard, one of the last survivors from the 2005-2006 resurgence. Let's look at the stats here. Height the same. Reach advantage 75 inches to 70, so it favors Rashad by a pretty big margin. Leg reach minimal. Strikes landed per minute favors Daniel Kelly. Strikes absorbed per minute favors Rashad. Defense kind of even. Takedown average favors Rashad by a full takedown 3.15 to 2.42 for Kelly. Takedown accuracy actually favors Kelly. Takedowns defense favors Kelly. Submission averages favors Kelly. All right, Rashad, I mean, he's a good fighter. I think he still has maybe like 2 or 3 more years left in him. But I think it's all downhill from here. I think he put in a pretty good fight here. I think he can keep this one close. He might be able to kind of drag it out to a decision, but I just think, looking at what I see from Kelly so far, he's got the youth factor, and I don't think Rashad Evans' striking is what it used to be. You know, this is not the same guy who, murder, death, killed Forrest Griffin back in the day, or the guy who destroyed the legacy of Chuck Liddell. That guy is gone. He doesn't have that power anymore. He's good. He can keep it competitive. He can defend himself, but I think Kelly goes in there and he wins it by split decision. So it should be close. I mean, it's a really good night of fights. I mean, I'm quite impressed. And speaking of impressive fights, which you really have to kind of know who these guys are to realize why you should care. We got Lando Groovy Veneta taking on David Tamor. USA against Sweden. Both these guys only 1 loss in the records. Really good fighters in the lightweight division. And there's obviously a glut of great fighters at 155. Height, reach, leg reach, pretty minimal. Strikes landed per minute, pretty minimal there. Not much of a difference. Strikes absorbed per minute. That's the huge factor. This is one of the most glaring one-sided advantages I've seen in a long time. As far as strikes absorbed per minute, David Tamor is absorbing 1.63. Lando is absorbing 8.52. So Lando is like, he fights like Rocky Balboa. He doesn't know how to block. He just blocks everything with his face. Not usually a good way to have a long, sustained career in pro fighting, but it's worked for him so far. And takedowns just across the board favors David Tamor. The UFC doesn't actually list any statistics as far as Lando's grappling, so it tells you what his strategy ought to be. So yeah, I think it's going to be a pretty interesting fight. I want to say Lando because he's had some pretty good finishes lately in the UFC. David Tamor, haven't seen a whole lot of, but he seems to be a little bit more of a more nuanced fighter. You know, he matches up the striking and the grappling. Whereas Lando, not a whole lot of grappling. It's all about, standing up and, tagging a dude and dropping him. And he can do that to David, but I think David's just slightly more dynamic and a better defensive fighter. So I think David manages to ride this one out, and Tamor gets a unanimous decision victory. All right, and our curtain jerker. One of the best pay-per-view opening bouts we've had in a long, long time. Alistair Overeem taking on Mark Hunt. And Mark Hunt, I think he's actually in the process of suing UFC because of the Brock Lesnar fight. So how about that? How many of us get to keep our jobs while we're currently suing our employer? We all need to take hints from Mark Hunt. All right, what more to say about this? You know, guys, they were fighting way back in the day in Pride, both kickboxers. Both guys have had shots at the UFC title and have been able to, do good on it. So, and where are these guys coming from? Mark Hunt, he lost to Brock Lesnar, but they got overturned because Lesnar was doing all the drugs. And Alistair Overeem, obviously, he got destroyed by Stipe Miocic, but he did come close to dropping Miocic. That was very close. I mean, that was not a one-sided drubbing. So who do I have in this one? I'm not going to bother with the stats because you don't need stats for when these two guys fight. Mark Hunt, very good defensively. Alistair Overeem, very underrated with his grappling. So yeah, it's going to be trade and bang. Whoever, leaves their head open the widest first loses. And I'm going to go with the upset here. I think Mark Hunt wins this one. I think he goes in there and Alistair Overeem just tries to swap paint with him. And Overeem, he's got that big top rider head. He's going to leave himself open. And I think Hunt's going to make him pay for it with another walk-off home run knockout. I got Hunt's knockout, takes his head clean off, first round. So, yeah, those are my pay-per-view predictions. All in all, this should be a really, really good card. Probably one of the best we've had since probably UFC 205. So, good job. Good job putting together a pay-per-view actually worth buying. All right. I'm just going to fly through the prelims because I don't really have a lot to say about them. I'm just going to give you my quick picks, and you can go from there. I got Marcin Tybura taking on Luis Henrique. I'm going to go with Tybura by unanimous decision. We got Mirsad Bektic taking on Darren Elkins. I'm going to go with Bektic by second round TKO. We've got Iuri Alcantara taking on Luke Sanders. I'm going to go with Luke Sanders by third round submission. He's a very good submission fighter. We got Mark Godbeer taking on Daniel Spitz, and I'm going to go with Daniel Spitz to win the upset. I think he gets a second round TKO. Going to the prelim fights, Tyson Petro taking on Paul Craig. They call Paul Craig the Bear Jew, so I'm not going to argue against that. I'm going to take the Bear Jew over Petro. He wins by unanimous decision. We've got Amanda Cooper taking on Cynthia Calvillo. I'm going to go with Cavillo by first round TKO. And opening everything, we got Albert Morales taking on Andre Sukhemthath. And I'm going to go with Morales because if I can't pronounce your last name, you're not going to win. Unless you're Khabib Nurmagomedov, then you're probably going to win. But yeah, I'm going to go with Morales to win that one by second round TKO. So yeah, if you're planning on staying in this Saturday night, you need to check this out. This is going to be a very, very good show. I'm looking forward to it, and we'll see what happens. Those are my picks. Feel free to take them. Bet the house on them. Don't bet the house on them. Either way, should be a good night of fights.